welcome to the very first of what we hope will be many episodes, the Unconventional Watch channel meets. Now, before we start, it's important to say we weren't paid for this video. We do this because it's something we wanted to do and something that we're passionate about, and we only work with companies that we like. But today we have a micro band from Chicago, Illinois. And I would like to welcome Adam Hodge, who is the founder of the company. Good evening or good morning here in Australia, but good evening over there in Chicago, Adam. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love it.
Fantastic. Now, we've got a few questions for you, but I guess first one is important. For anyone not familiar with Farr Swit, could you tell us who you are as a watch company?
Yeah, so I usually started with how I got into watches. I hope I'm not jumping into your guys' questions too much, but back when I was, and you've heard this probably many times before, if anybody's been following my socials or my other stuff, I always talk about the Citizen Pro Diver, which I came across at a window in St. Thomas when I was 18, and it like had a lume dial on it. I really wasn't into watches, but you walk by that window and it's like, it just grabs you and you come back. And I went in, I spent $350 with, in 1998 for an 18-year-old was a ton of coin at the time. But then it got me hooked, and you just kind of like, you start connecting with people and you start looking at everyone's watch, right? And then you start commenting on them, and it really leads to, once you get that one watch that bites you, I think it gets you into watch collecting. So I had been a watch collector since then and kept rolling, going to watch time events. Then when Worn and Wound came out with their wind-ups, I was going to those as well. Always kind of had this creator passion where I like to make things. I tell people I used to make my own T-shirts in junior high. I used to make these knockoff joke shirts that were knockoffs of Stussy and No Fear Gear as a joke, and they were called Hodge Wear, and we'd sell them to people. And I even, back on the days of grade school recess, I would do Weird Al Yankovic kind of, like instead of Ice Ice Baby, I did Dork Dork Baby, which is horrible. It's absolutely terrible. But, my friend Sean Coleman and I would record these and then sell tapes at recess. So I always like to make things. And I always had this feeling that I wanted to make a watch because I love the watch game so much. And the Seaplane had kind of been floating around in my head for a while, pun intended. And I talked to a couple people. I kind of did some research, and after a year and a half of getting a prototype done and talking with some people, I finally just went ahead and pulled the trigger and brought two friends in and said, "Hey, let's have a go at this," And
what year was that?
That was 2018, because 2018 we declared the company. We already had the prototype kind of idea drawn out, and then we created the LLC officially in like October so that we could buy the prototypes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fantastic. Dina, you had a question?
Yeah, well, I suppose it might link a little bit into that one. So we were sort of thinking, like, what was your background prior to starting Farr Swit? Like, obviously, I'm gathering now you weren't in the watch industry itself, but what sort of background did you come from to lead you into this?
So, in terms of profession, I had been in lots of factories. I had originally went to school for marketing, came out, got probably the best transitional job out of college for anybody, and that's working at an advertising agency. And the reason I say that is if you go from college to advertising agency, I had a fridge with beer in it, and this is like the 2000s, so it wasn't Mad Men, but I ended up like luckily got my friend employed there. He was across the cube from me. We had a bar which served drinks. I actually started hosting open mic nights, and I'd do my rap music there and bring everybody in. So and it's all young kids. Anyway, so I got into advertising with Leo Burnett and Starcom, then did a stint with a startup called Textura, which is now an Oracle-owned company, exited that, went to work for my dad because I was about to go back to advertising, and he had said, hey, how about you help me? I work with Dow Chemical. I do training for them. We're a manufacturer's rep agency. I could really just use you to come out and help me retire. So I was thinking 3-year gig. And then I got into it, and then I started contracting with Dow Chemical and Dow Corning and DuPont, and it was awesome. Had an employee over in China. Really, I started loving it because it's one of those things that, like, you go to college, and I tell people who are younger, like, nobody tells you about the jobs in industrial for the most part. Like, you don't realize how cool those can be, especially like industrial sales. It's a blast. And I was going into factories, I love that stuff around the world, um, going in the back, talking to people, solving problems. So I did that for 15 years. And that business actually is, allowed me to begin this as a side passion project and fund it and keep it going. And then timing wise, it just my contracts were ending. This was rolling. So about a year and a half ago, I kind of exited and just closed the company, didn't sign any more contracts, any new contracts, and was like, let's go full steam ahead. Yeah. So I kind of hip hopped a little bit on that one with you, but with a long winded answer. But that's kind of, it's a whole progress because I went from advertising, I think, and then seeing all the factory and doing a lot of stuff out there allowed me to kind of get comfortable with manufacturing something and working on it.
And was there like that light bulb moment or the beer moment when you were sort of dropped in, hey, let's start a watch company? And leading into that, where did the name Farr Swit come from?
So that is a very difficult thing, and I'm sure you guys had that trouble just forming the Unconventional Watch channel, right? Like forming the name, and like I said, I came from a brand background, so knowing that a name, like once you have it, like this is yours, you're married to this is going to be a reflection of you, so you really got to put a lot of thought into it. I spent so much time running through different brainstorming charts and using Swiss German words and all this stuff, and in the end I was like, it's me. And this is where you guys are going to hear it called for the first time. It's Farrand is my middle name. Farr. Farrand. Andy is the other guy, Andy Paetzel. Brought him in. He was a jewelry designer. He actually designed my wedding ring and all that kind of stuff. Brought him in for his expertise. And then a watch enthusiast friend of mine named Zach Switalski. So when I say the name, it's officially Farr Swit. That's what it's called, but I always call it Farr Swit just because it has that ring and it's easier to identify, especially if I'm doing something, verbally only. To say Farr Swit, people are going to look up Fair or Fire. So it's I go by Farr Swit, but I always tell people, I was saying Panerai incorrectly for probably about a year before I figured out how to properly pronounce it. So it's like having a fancy watch name, right? You got to have the fun pronunciation for it.
Wow.
But that's how we came up with the name. And we like the balance, the 4 letters, the and sign, the 4 letters, or the plus sign, all that kind of goes together nicely.
Yeah, the plus sign, I think it really works fantastically.
Yeah, so leading on then from that into the actual starting of the watches, I guess, we were wondering, how involved were you in the design and the production process? Is it a company that designs the watches, in-house, or is this something that you work with teams? Yeah, I know you've sort of hinted at that, but yeah, we'll just maybe try and expand a little bit on that side of it.
Yeah, so I for the most part, my 2 partners have exited. It's basically me, any contract work I do, and so all the design stuff, and the design is it's all done by me. It's all just whatever I'm feeling at the time, whatever I'm coming up with. And that's probably the most fun part, with the exception of watch shows and doing these type of things, is the design. And most frustrating. My God. I mean, in terms, I tell people like design is very difficult because it's not linear. Like you could put in 2 hours a day and put aside 2 hours a day, and at the end of the week, you could have gone backwards. You could put in 10 minutes and have it spike and you've got the whole thing. So it doesn't, and I learned that from advertising as well, as, it doesn't always just hit. That's why they have pool tables, and, that's why they let you have beer in your, and go for a 2-hour jog around the lake. They let you do that because they understand the creativity and the design aspect. It's hard. It's very difficult to pull together and have it work and have the timing work. It's not as like put in hours and get hours, but so yeah, I do all the design work. Andy helped a ton with the first few models because he's a jewelry designer as well. I mean, he's great at sketching everything out. The Seaplane was a brainchild of all 3 of us, kind of. I just had the idea of calling it a Seaplane, but all the design aspects, like the pilot hands and the loom and the waves and the stars, that all came from everybody. So yeah, design process was done by me, and Andy and Zach for our first few models. But no, I'd love to have somebody help me out, and I'm working with a couple creative guys that are just friends of mine, because I mean, you guys know the digital stuff has been really rolling, and the mixtapes have been a hit, and I love it. And I've got this next version I'll tell you guys about later coming, and I've got another version. Like things are firing, and this is where design is great. Yeah. When it's just firing so fast, I can't even pull the ideas in to try and collect them, and I've got them segregated in little buckets. But yeah, it's great. I've got some friends who are on similar wavelengths as me, and I'm like, hey, take a look at this. I'm trying to go this direction. What do you think? And that helps, because your brain can get overloaded at times. And if I'm rambling, guys, cut me off here, because I will.
No.
I'll keep going.
And this is the insight that we want, and how does this come about? And hopefully we'll see a theme across these creative people who go through this. And you've led me lovely to the next question, really, because this is why I love your company. These mixtapes, I saw them. I don't know where I saw them, but it was like this light bulb. I'm into vinyl. I'm into music. I'm into nostalgia, retro. They speak to me. Everyone who's seen them, as you know, we've got a group of, I think everyone just about we know in Australia's got one now. Do you know? Our wives steal them from us. And they say, oh, that's...
I love that. I love that.
My wife has two, and it's brilliant. And, it's pretty obvious now I'm going to have every collection along the way. So you've hooked me for life, because I love them and I love changing them over. And especially if I go to music concert or something like that, I'm sticking this on because it's just so funky, and people ask me. So my question was, what was the inspiration, I guess, between, and I'm going to call them iconic now, because I think they're becoming iconic. You instantly recognizable. So what was the inspiration, and what is next for Mixtape Volume 3? And my video I did of you guys, I did a few color combinations too.
Oh, awesome.
The black and the green and things like that.
So the inspiration came because I had that one of my design ideas was the Vice edition, right, of my solar powered Vice, which has got this really retro synth wave, and that hit. And I had been trying to figure out a way to take the Solar Chrono, the small subdials, and turn them sideways, and then try and do a cassette tape on a round dial. It wasn't working. Like, I was just jamming a square peg into a round hole, and I put that to the side. And along the way, I had gotten my son basically a Garbage Pail Kids version of the FW91. I got him one, and I got my daughter one, and I got myself one, of course. And I had given it to him, and he had it for a couple weeks, and he's like, Dad, why don't you have this? Why don't you have one of these? I can stopwatch, and I can set an alarm. And I was like, it just doesn't really fit. But you know what, dude? I think you probably could be right. So I went for a walk with the dog. And a lot of my design work, believe it or not, happens while I'm on a 25-minute walk with my dog. And by the time I got back, I was ready. I was like, oh my God, if I can just take this, it's a square shape. I can put the tape on there. I can get it clear. I can get it black. And I just went rolling. Found some suppliers who could actually work with me and make custom stuff for me. Got a couple different samples. I would have loved if Cassia would do this with me, but they got other stuff happening. So, but yeah, no. After a couple of different samples, I got the first two and went for it. And even when they arrived and I had them in my hand, I hadn't talked to anybody about them. I haven't shared them with anybody. I talked to Andy about it. Him and I had bounced back, and we were both kind of like, I feel uncertain about this watch, because my next model is $400.
Yeah.
So I sell $400 to $800 stuff. I put a lot of quality in it, and then I got this. People are like, you should be selling that for $100. I was like, I don't want to do that. I think I'd rather sell somebody 3 for $90 rather than 1 for $100. And then I want them to come back and want the next 3. You know what I mean? So I was nervous. And that Instagram post, I put it out, and it was just pictures that I had taken with my phone, and it started pinging. It was like the people were responding like, holy cow, this is crazy. And then I was like, all right, I got to get a blast email to my subscribers, because I promised them first information all the time. So then I put together something a little more proper, sent it out to subscribers. They were excited, and I already had them in stock. So like all of a sudden, bing, 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 orders are coming in. I was like, holy cow, this is incredible. People like this. Like, I was nervous about it, and then I felt comfortable. I was like, all right, I love this watch. I don't need to be reserved about this. I'm gonna keep talking it up and pushing it and not be shy about it. And like, it shows those things. Basically, I have a line of people that just show up and they buy those. Almost everybody that comes to the table. So it's been the best thing that's happened to me. And it's funny because the two models that have been our biggest hits, this and the Vice Edition, were two that I was hesitant.
I'm not letting you off with the second part, which you didn't answer. What's next with the mixtape Volume 3? Come on, give us a little insight at least.
So Volume 2 B-sides has got to come first, right? Oh, yes. You got an A-sides and a B-side. Yes. So B-sides is hitting. I got 3 models coming. 2 of them are going to be generally released, and they're going to be a larger size because I've had lots of people tell me I want a little bit bigger size. They'll be like, it's a kid's watch. I'm like, it's an FW91 size watch. It's an old watch. So I've got a larger size. I've gone opaque, so they're going to be bright opaque colors. I got a pistachio and I got a blue moon coming. And then I've got to come up with a fun name for it, but there's going to be a pink one, which is going to be for breast cancer awareness as well.
Oh, fantastic!
My mom's a survivor from that, so that's that one's coming out. And then, in terms of digitals, I'm very excited. I hope the timing works out. I've got a VHS line coming, which is outrageous. I can send you guys some pictures after this. I've paired up with a group, a mom and pop, basically, who make these ridiculously cool cases it's a real size VHS. You slide it out, and it's a plastic VHS, and I can open it up, and then inside that is going to be my all steel. It's called the Kill Count. So these are going to be called the Be Kind, Please Rewind series, and it's going to have a VHS theme. And this one specifically, since it's slasher, is going to have a splatter of blood on it. So it's really funky.
Wow.
It's really funky. The case itself, it's got a fake, like you're going to basically walk up and think this is a VHS. We've got a trailer that we're pulling together that is going to make people go, is this a real movie? Like the whole theme is every hour there's a new victim and there's this killer. He's just killing everybody every hour. And this teenage group goes rogue and tries to find him, but then he starts hunting them, right? So every hour, a new victim. Every second, closer to death. It's just like so ridiculous 80s slasher. So I've just got to have the timing line up right. And I've been like, I mean, it is so cool. The case, the wrap packaging, even all the little Easter eggs I drop in the label on the VHS. So if that hits like I hope it does, and I've shared some photos with people, we've got a whole series like Buddy Cop, raunchy comedy, all this stuff.
Really awesome to look at. I would love to.
As soon as I get it in hand, it's going on a boat out or a plane out to you guys. Don't worry.
Oh, fantastic! Oh man, awesome. Dina, you had a question about the brand catalog.
Well, I think you've covered it. But I think it was one of the first things I said to Mick when we got the mixtape was it seems a big pivot to go from, you've gone with your dive watches, your sort of more traditional style, and you, as you say, a higher sort of price watch. And then out of the blue, we've sort of got this mixtape, which is, your $35 watch. And I was sort of like thinking, where does that sort of change in direction come from and where were you heading? And you've covered it all.
Well, I mean, I can tell you. Also, I mean, like I started making a watch that I wanted to get to non-watch people. That's the Seaplane I designed is like it's a Swiss automatic. It's got the sapphire bezel crystal, the BGW9, super high quality watch. And I want to get this to the guys who don't believe in watches, who say they got an iPhone and they don't need a watch. So I want to convert them, which is a terrible target market. But that's like my goal is to get a very affordable, and it's a $1,200 watch that I sell for like $680. Yeah. So I want to have it within range. From that model, I kind of moved on to the Wayfinder Lume dial, which was a lower price point at the time, was about $400, and that was to kind of get a little bit more entry level and have a little bit more fun. I think that's where we hit our stride, is because that Lume, the different colorways, we got more funky, and I've had other people tell me like I can see that watch on someone's wrist across the room, and I was so conservative with the Seaplane, where you can see the Seaplane and it's cool, but you really got to take it off and hand it to somebody. Where I want to have somebody be able to identify my watch on someone's wrist. Like, I can see that. I know the brand name before I even saw it. I know that's a Farr Swit, you know? That's what I want. And then, yeah, what really did it was the Vice Edition. The Vice Edition hit so hard. People loved it. I love it. And then being able to follow up with the mixtape has just kind of opened the doors for lots of fun, which I'm embracing because I'm like, this is the stuff I love. I mean, I can tilt the camera, you guys can see all the friggin' He-Mans I got above my hand. But yeah, I've got a lot of nerd stuff, so this is like, mate. This is right into what I love.
As you can see on the screen here, with that side, we'll put them up on the screen. A fantastic, varied collection. I like the one with this. Is it the map? Is it a map of Chicago?
It's actually it's a map of Wrigleyville, which is a neighborhood where Wrigley Field of the Chicago Cubs is.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm a Chicago Cubs fan. What's great is I had actually bumped into the manager of the team at the time, who was David Ross. Mm-hmm. He's won World Series with a bunch of teams, like the Cubs. He ended up winning with the Cubs and with Boston. And he's a watch collector, which is awesome. Him and another pitcher named Jake Arrieta are watch guys. Anyways, chatted him up watches, told him I got this watch coming out. No strings attached. He was excited, so I mailed it to him, and he wore it for every game basically for 2 seasons. Like, brought it to London when the Cubs came to London. He brought it with him there. And I've still got 3 of them on the trainer's wrists in the dugout as well. So that's kind of a fun thing.
Awesome. Right. Apart from your own designs, because I want to know a little bit about yourself. What's your favorite watch or watch brand, and why?
So I still love, like, if you think about G-Shocks and Swatch, those guys, and people won't, most watch enthusiasts won't talk about them, but those guys have got the recipe because they come out with basically the exact same watch over and over with a little bit of different, some type of, colorway, and you want it. Like basically it's only them and Rolex who can change a color and make you go, oh my God, that's such a cool new model. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. So, of course, Rolex does a great job with that. I'm still fans of that. Omega is, they got that model where it's their Omega Blue. It's from a couple years ago. It's like a special blue hue that they put. Oh my gosh, when you see those in person and handle them, they're beautiful. The Norcane Wild one, that's one of the ones I envy. Like, I wish I could come up with something as cool as that. And there's so many brands. I just try, and it's funny, I haven't been able to wear them. I stopped collecting. I have to just go and, like, I go to the watch stores and I look and I drool and I'm like, you know what? Are you
a bit like us, where sometimes the partner has a sort of that look and no more watches?
No, I can't get caught. We're out in public without my own watch on. I realize that. Like, I remember one time I was out, like, for my anniversary or something, and someone's like, "Oh, how's the company going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's awesome." They're like, well, "Let me see what you got on it," and it's not my watch. I'm like, you can't own a Mercedes dealership and drive a Porsche. You got to drive a Mercedes, Now,
I've got one more question, and look, as I say, and you're open enough to answer this. Postage costs are quite high, and I think it's difficult for a lot of micro brands. And also now with the tariffs, of course, you have little control over the tariffs, of course, and the postage as well. Is it something you're trying to address, or especially when you're sending stuff, say, to Australia or over to London or something like that, or to England?
Yeah, so I've gotten, thanks to you guys, thanks to a couple write-ups in European press, I've gotten a ton. Like, half my orders that just came in for Volume 2 are overseas, and in places I've never even shipped before, which was, like, really cool. But what I'm trying to do is I found this service called Global Post, which is roughly around $20. Wow. And sometimes 25, and I can get it to somebody. It takes a little while longer, and it uses their local post. So far, no hiccups. I mean, better than when I used the United States Postal Service. I've had some stuff get lost. And
I understand you need a little help from the big boys here at USPIS. USPIS? Postal Inspection Service?
I'm hearing UPS is not liked by a lot of people outside the US. I've heard of like Canadians telling me there was like $45 handling fees or brokerage fees and stuff. So I'm still trying to figure it out. And one thing I do, and I'm all for it. Maybe it's bad business, but like let's say you bought a watch and you got charged $25 for shipping, and I go in and I print the postage and it's 20. I just go immediately to your account, hit refund, and send you a refund of $5 because I don't want to. I'm not shipping and handling. I just want to ship the product to you. Yeah. And the tariffs. It's too bad. Like I know, like our Canadian friends, whatever week it is, I guess in the news, and where we're at, it may not make sense for them to buy a watch from me, and I get that, and that's what's too bad is I'd like more free trade on that, of course, but.
All right, well, thank you. Listen, mate, that's been brilliant. You make sure you send us those photos because I really want to see what's happening with that cassette tape. With the VHS tape. That's a brilliant idea. Thank you. I'm sure this won't be the last time we'll speak because, like I say, we absolutely love your watches. And as we upgrade, and I know the few of us are tending to now go a little bit higher and start getting yours, you do a fantastic job, Adam. Your watches are creative. We feel that passion, which is why we wanted you on the Unconventional Watch Channel Meets and to be the first person. Thank you so much for supporting us. We will continue to support you. And I say thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, I'm honored. Love it. Thank you, guys.
Dino, thanks, mate. And I'll catch you later on when we do another recording and we'll see where we go from there. Fix all your stuff up for next time.